Hey, what's going on everyone? NoZoupForYou here, and you are watching some Goliath gameplay. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the Goliath, though this is not solely about the Goliath. This is mostly about the Royal Navy heavy cruisers that we have on their way, and what I think of them, and just kind of an overview of what to expect with them. But I do want to cover the Goliath because I've actually enjoyed this tier 10 ship very much, so I'm going to give you some stats of the ship. And of course, these are all subject to change because this is a work in progress ship. The entire line is still a work in progress. But here we go. So, for the Goliath, you have a survivability of 58,600 hit points. For your guns, your main battery, you've got 4 turrets with 3 guns. And I got that right this time. I think last review, I kind of switched that around and said you have 4 guns with whatever many turrets. And I don't know how many people caught it. I know a couple of you all did. You all have very sharp ears, I've noticed. So these guns are 234 millimeters, so they're pretty big. It's a heavy cruiser, so you can expect bigger guns, not your small little pea shooters like the Minotaur has. And just by comparison, the Des Moines, another heavy cruiser, has 203 millimeter guns. And we all know how much we love the Des Moines guns. They're pretty heavy hitting in my opinion, especially against other cruisers. Its AP has no problem whatsoever taking out ships like Smolensk and Worcester and all those other cruisers, and even does a lot of damage against battleships. So these guns are even bigger than the Des Moines. I feel that they hit pretty darn hard. I enjoy using them against cruisers, and in a pinch they'll do great against battleships. But the other thing about these is they also sling HE. And your fire percentage chance for HE on these guns is 22%, which isn't that bad at all. In fact, you stand a very high chance of causing HE damage and fires when you use the HE. So you've got that at your disposal. You also have torpedoes on this ship. You have 2 quad tubes with a range of 10 kilometers at a speed of 62 knots. A very good offensive weapon right there. Very nice sneaking around corners and scaring people with these. And of course, unlike the Minotaur, you can actually survive a push inward to use them. Of course, you can do that in the Minotaur too. You just have to be a little more careful because Minotaur likes to get insta-blapped against certain battleships. Your maneuverability on this ship, maximum speed with Sierra Mikes, is 34.6 knots with a turning circle radius of 800 meters and a rudder shift time of 12.5 seconds. She's pretty nimble for a heavy cruiser, in my opinion. I feel comfortable in her. I don't feel like I'm driving a slug or anything else, so I think overall people are going to enjoy motoring around in her. Concealment wise, and this is the last thing we're going to cover stat wise, your concealment is 11 kilometers, which for a heavy cruiser, that's not that bad at all. So overall, what do I think of the Goliath? Well, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. I think it's a good ship. It's fun, it hits hard, it can start fires, it's got maneuverability, it's got somewhat decent survivability, and actually I find the survivability when you're bow forward a lot better than when your butt is showing to certain battleships. I feel like when I do get Citadel, it's usually going right up the rear. But this leads me, I guess, to the Royal Navy heavy cruiser line in general. And I know this is a very intriguing line, and a lot of you are wondering what to expect. And in many ways, I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about it because, at face value, these are very much no-frill ships. And by that, I mean, don't take that the wrong way. But you're lacking a lot of things that other nations and other ship classes have. You don't have radar on these. You don't have smoke on these. I mean, the Goliath itself has heel and it has hydro, and that's it. And I like that. I'm digging that. I'm loving it, to be honest. You've got HE and you've got AP, but it's not fast reloading. On the Goliath, the reload's 15 seconds. That's actually pretty slow. It's definitely not as fast as the Des Moines, but you've got a lot of guns, and they're pretty accurate. So, I guess the point I'm trying to make about my feelings of the Royal Navy heavy cruiser line right now is that it's almost a return to normalcy. You know, we've had all these ships like Smolensk that has smoke and can fire HE from smoke, and you know, the Royal Navy light cruiser line's the same way. We've got all these ships that have come out recently with gimmicks, huge gimmicks, and I don't think it's been good for the game. But this line right here is almost a return to the old days. It's a return to normalcy. It's a return to just a straight up ship that has certain features to it. It's got heavy hitting guns. I mean, at face value, it's a traditional ship from the beginning of the game. And I love that. And I love that about this line from what I'm seeing right now. But the problem with that too is it might be too late in the game to add this type of a line. I mean, this is an old style of meta right here. This ship, these ships, not just the Goliath, but the entire line seems like it was designed for the game 3 years ago or 4 years ago. That type of gameplay has long passed. The type of games where this ship shined have long passed because we've got different types of ships now. We've got those Smolensks that can smoke up and hide in smoke and have excessive range even with that. So this ship line, the heavy Royal Navy cruisers, it's going to be kind of hard determining what their role's going to be because they don't have that radar. Yeah, they've got Hydro, but that only helps you so much. In my opinion, you'll almost have to play them similar to battleships or with battleships. I mean, they're an interesting class, just in that, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I love where they went with this class. I love what they've got. I love their heavy guns and everything else. And I love their fire starting capability, but I just feel like the game has kind of moved on from these type of ships. And I'm not saying that these ships aren't going to be valid. I mean, I think the nostalgia is there, and a lot of players are probably going to like these ships just for that old school feel and not having to worry about 50,000 different consumables. It's kind of refreshing. But again, I don't know what role these ships are going to fit into. I mean, I don't know that I would take a Goliath over a Des Moines just because that radar is so important. I don't think I'd take a Goliath over a Minotaur just again because that smoke's important and the ability to use that smoke. I definitely wouldn't take the Goliath over the Stalingrad, but I barely play the Stalingrad anymore. There are few ships that I would take the Goliath over. I mean, I've had fun in it, and I've enjoyed testing it and the other Royal Navy heavy cruisers. But in the scheme of things, I just don't know that these ships are a compelling argument to use them over any other cruiser in their class, just because they do lack all those consumables that some of the others have, and the offensive capability, and, you know, relying on big guns, you can't just do that anymore. So this is a type of ship, and these are ships that are going to appeal to certain players that are very comfortable in their gunplay, I think, and their aim and their ability to delete cruisers and choose their targets wisely. But they're lacking a lot of things right now, and it's deliberate. I know that. I mean, you can't give a ship with 234mm shells smoke to hide in. That would just be ridiculous, especially when it has HE. So compromises had to have been made for this class. They just had to be made. But I don't know if those compromises are just too much. And I don't know that players are going to want to flock to these ships when people have grown comfortable in smoke. And you kind of have to use it in some instances now. I mean, the game has just progressed through this arms race and power creep. And I really think that because of that, these ships just are going to have a hard time finding their way into players' ports because of that. Again, the meta has passed these ships by. 4 years ago, yeah, these ships would have been great for the game. It would have been a lot of fun in the game. But at this point right now, with everything going on and the ships that we have now, I think it's going to appeal to a limited audience. I think players will do good in them. I think these ships are good enough that players can do good in them. But it's going to take a certain type of player. And I don't think they're going to be for everyone. So I'm excited about them. I really love what they bring to the table in just that old school World of Warships type of ship that's not bringing in major gimmicks. I mean, it's great. We finally have a plain Jane ship line, but, you know, 5 years on, I I think we're a little late in the game for this type of a line, and I would have loved to have seen this a lot earlier. Anyhow, I want to know what you all are thinking about Royal Navy heavy ships. Are you excited about them? Do they intrigue you? And also, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit that like and sub button so you can stay up to date on all the latest World of Warships news. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will catch you all later. Zoop out.